Lee likes to do a book of the month, so I picked one this month. It's Getting Things Done by David Allen. It's a really good book that helps you kind of relieve the stress that you put on yourself by making engagements that you don't follow through with. It's very good at providing actionable tips to actually be more productive and getting things done. So this is something that's really helpful, especially for me, who I'm a serial procrastinator. You know, it's really difficult for me to actually have a process to get things done, and I highly recommend this book. I believe I bought it for like less than 20 bucks. There you go.
I have a question.
Yes.
How you finished it? Because you're a procrastinator.
Touche.
I'll probably get it done next week. I was told that Julie has a market report, so if you don't mind, would you mind?
Glad to. Lee and I were talking about, I usually give sales report, and Lee's really interested in rentals. Anybody else interested in rentals?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm doing a rental one tonight instead of the sales report, but I do want to welcome you. We're glad to have you at the sales team. Sorry I wasn't here the last time, and y'all understand we're in a small room. I was in Indonesia seeing grandkids, so.
Having a terrible time.
Yeah. I'll pass these around, and I realize that there's at least one item that I left off, so this one you'll have some. If you get to the end and you have some left over, you might pass it back to the next row. Make sure. We've got 20 here, but we may have more than 20 people. So don't keep an extra as of right now. Make sure everybody here gets one. I pulled from Midland County and Richter County. It's not exactly the same information. I don't have them set up for automatic pull the same information. Right now in Midland, we have more available than in Odessa, but we're way low in both markets. The active ones in Midland are 40. Rented in the last 90 days, maybe 92 days there. It's pretty close to that. The average, okay, at the top on the active, the average list price is $2,476. That's what was missing. 2,476. Our average lease price is $2,474 in the last 90 days. You see that most people are charging deposits. Average square footage is 1668, and average days on the market of those that rent is 27. That doesn't mean that it was actually actively marketed for 27 days, because it takes some days to get applications processed and so forth. Richter County, they only have 16 available in the MLS. Richter County is not as likely to put them in their MLS. They have a number of big brokerages that handle them, and they don't put it in the MLS. So that doesn't mean they have less, it's just less available through the MLS. Their list prices are from $1,000 to $5,000, average list being $23.66 per month. The average lease price since January 16th is $25.24. Any questions, things I might have left off here, but I might know off the top of my head or something I could help you with?
So the difference between list and lease is what it's on
List
for, and
is
then
what
lease
they-
is what it's signed for?
Yeah,
Okay.
if they introduce it. Yes, sir.
The average deposit is 2,500. Is it a regular practice to have one bond, 1 month?
Pretty
Standard?
pretty standard here. Every once in a while, you'll see, you just see it more with you guys. You know, some of them will do $1,000 deposit or something. But those that are in the MLS, it's pretty standard to have 1 month. If you end up having to do an eviction, you know, a lot of times you're not collecting rent at the end. It's nice to have as much in hand as you can, because you're probably also going to have some damage to that property. So.
What's the average square foot for the Richter County?
They do not collect that data, or at least it wasn't on the spreadsheet that pulled up the collected data. I don't think they lived in there at all. If they do, I have to go down to each one of their properties. So, sorry about that. So, rentals are a booming business. I did check for last year. In Odessa, it was a better deal to own than to rent for someone that's in that decision-making process. And in Midland, it was the other way around, but probably not by much. And I doubt that that's the case now. I know I have rentals right now that are going up $550 to $650 a month on a term. I'm not doing that to tenants that are staying.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
All right. If anybody knows of a potential person who could come in here and present to the group, please let Lee know. We are always looking for more people to present, and it's always great to have more than enough names to be able to fill out the schedule. Please remember, no one here is giving legal, accounting, or professional advice. All the information is just to give you something to think about, and then you can take it to your legal or accounting professional for advice and apply whatever's good for you. So today our guest speaker is going to be Lee Richter. He has been hosting this group for since 2014. Ever since I started attending in April of last year, he has been providing me with a wealth of resources and information. He is truly a veteran of investing out here in Midland, and I would make sure to take some notes because he knows what he's talking about, and he's probably going to give you a very different outlook on rentals and how you need to think about why you're doing what you're doing and why you should invest and what should motivate you to do so and how to do it the right way as well. So,
Y'all hand those around. I'm Lee Richter, and I'm from Florida. And people from Florida have a different way of looking things and doing things. Like, where I grew up, we had a quicksand box in the backyard. And I was a single child eventually. And we think differently, if you have a car and you're driving at night at the speed of light and you turn your lights on, does anything ever happen? Just weird thoughts like that, What, does anybody in here know what happens if you put a seashell up to your ear?
You hear the ocean?
Yeah. As a teenager, in Florida, they got girls that run around with bikini seashells. So if you run up and grab one of them and put it up to your ear, you don't hear the seashell. You hear screaming.
And you feel something.
Yeah, you feel something too. So, tonight I'm going to talk about goals and just things that I've learned along the way. It's just stuff that works for me. Different people have different ways of doing goals. I don't like timelines on my goals because I don't like stress in my life, and it tends to put stress on me if I have a timeline on it. I stay focused on it, and I figure that's the best I'm going to be able to do anyways, is just to really be focused and just keep going back to my goals and just keep looking at them. The goals is, when you're doing your goals, it's like a fog. If it was nighttime and it was real foggy out, and I hurt my arm real bad, and I was needing to go get it fixed, I'd know, well, okay, I need to go to the hospital. Well, if I went out here to the front and I couldn't see very far down the road, well, I would know that I'd need to turn left to go down that way. And then after a while, I'd be able to see the stop sign, so I'd stop. I couldn't see the highway yet because the fog's still keeping me from running. Get up to the next stop sign, it'd be the highway. Well, I know I need to turn right now, so I'd turn right. And I can't see the loop because it's too foggy. Get up there and there's a stop sign. So it's like, you know, if your goal is to have, to be retired or something, you have something that's in your way, well, you gotta get it figured out. Well, the stop sign changes to green, so you move on. You go down to Midland Drive, that one's green, so you just keep on going. You get to the next stop sign, you stop at it because it's stopped. Get to the next one, and that's where Andrew Highway turns in from 191 and Golf Course goes straight. You get there, you're thinking hospital, but you see right there on the corner, there's a first aid clinic. And so you go in there and you get your arm fixed, and you go home, and you get home, your goal was to get your arm fixed. When you left here, it was to go to the hospital to get your arms fixed, but that was just a way of getting your arm fixed. So along the way, different things happen. You had to stop, you had to go, and that's the way it is with your goals. As you get closer to your goals, you'll see things that needs to be different, and you'll be able to see, oh, I need to do this next. And to put a real life thing on it is when I started with the group here, Sergio, Rios, and what's his name? Johanny. And there was about 3 other people who were meeting at the library. And I was there and supposed to start at 7. It's 7:05 and nobody's in this room but me. And I'm thinking, I gotta have the wrong room. Well, somebody shows up. I think Johanny was the first one who showed up. And it was like that for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months. And I would see people come in, and then you wouldn't see them again. They'd go out the back door because not much was happening. So I asked Sergio and Rios and them if maybe I couldn't get a presenter, to have some kind of thing going on instead of just talking, And they said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So I started doing that. I originally started coming to the Reia group because in Bigger Pockets, who does not know Bigger Pockets? Okay, Bigger Pockets is a thing online, and it has a lot of podcasts, and it deals just in real estate. It's very good information, lots of good information. And at the end of the interviews, they'd always ask, what would you do different? And probably 4 out of 5 would always say, I'd know more people. And so I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said, well, you could go to the Reia group. I said, I didn't know there was one. He said, go to the meetup group. I said, what's a meetup? And he said, go to meetup.com. So I got there, and that's how I found the library. And, going from there to where I am now, it was just little stages upon the sign-in thing. That happened maybe a year after we started getting presenters. I thought, hey, we ought to have a record of this, because I asked if they knew who all was on the internet site, and they couldn't pull it down. So we started doing that, and then, it just keeps evolving as you go, just like the fog, So figure out your goals and then start working on them, because as you go, you'll learn and you'll be able to keep shifting wherever you need to shift. Back in 2010, I wasn't ready to do anything in real estate. I was still raising my boys. So, my goal was to raise my boys and be there. Yeah, Cats in the Cradles. In that song, it talks about the dad that's always too busy for his son, and then his son goes off to college, comes back, and the dad wants to spend some time, and he says, all I really came for the dad is to borrow the car keys. And then the son is gone, and the dad calls him up one day and says, hey, can I, come see you? And he said, well, I really like to, but I'm too busy, and names all this stuff. And the dad says, hey, he just grew up just like me, I was too busy for him, and now he's too busy for me. And I took that, I was single back then, and I took that serious, you talk to old timers and say, it all goes too fast, And so I just took that as being gospel. I'm too dumb to know it's not, I just figure they know more than I do. So that's why I started off, is because of Bigger Pockets. My outlook on life, I have a lot different outlook. I'm really grateful that I live where I live. We live in Midland. We can make a good living. Yeah, it's expensive, but we can afford to go do things, you know? If you live in Detroit in the middle of the slums, you know, I feel sorry for those guys because they can't do something, you know? And on the way here, I didn't get shot at today. I wasn't blown up. You think about it, if you're in some of these countries, you can't go to work because you're being shot at, you know? We are just so lucky to be here. Beautiful sun, look at that sun out there, you know? Beautiful Sunday. I tell you, if you're not grateful for being here, you just need to keep looking around and thinking about all you guys, you know. Most of you guys I know. There's probably half a dozen of you right now that I don't know, but I hope to get to know you, you know, in the future, because you can never have enough friends. And so I always look at stuff like that. I was in the Army, and if you ever want to know how socialism works, join the service, any of the services. They tell you where to live, what to eat, what to do. You don't like your job, well, yeah, you might ask for a job, but only if they want you to have it will they give it to you. I learned a lot in the Army, but I also learned what socialism is, and I don't like socialism. I like making my own decisions. Yeah, I fall down sometimes. My wife thinks just because I fell down a lot that I'm a failure, but, you know, we got a good life, you know. I don't know what she's talking about.
You can't succeed without failure.
What's that? That's
You can't
right.
succeed
That's
without
right.
failure.
You know, just like going to the stop sign. You had to stop for it, right? And there's things that are going to stop you here. But you figure it out and then you go on. Maybe that was the wrong thing to do, you know? So I just have fun seeing other people win and having other people have fun. I work in neighborhoods, and one of my customers had his brother live 2 doors down from him. And they'd bring in this motorhome, and I had watched this program that was on motorhome, and I know that motorhome must have been $400,000 motorhome. And he would bring it in, and these guys were like 70, 80 years old. They'd go in that thing and go camping, you know? They'd go hunting. And I get so thrilled just knowing that they were going to have such a good time going hunting, you know? And being in that thing and just enjoying themselves. It just tickles me when people succeed and do things, you know? In my life, I concentrate on 6 subjects, and it's on that thing, at the very thing, the books. Negotiations. Somebody told me years ago that everything in this life is owned or controlled by somebody else. So if you want a part of it, you better learn to negotiate. And I've been studying it ever since for 25, 30 years. And the best book I ever read was just lately that Never Split the Difference. And it's actually helped my marriage because it's taught me how to communicate better. And that's all negotiation is communicating. But evidently I was not very good before I read that book, and now I've become very good. We don't hardly have any fights at all anymore. The next thing is I'm dyslexic, and so that ADHD, yeah, that's it. It's hard for me to learn new little words like that, or you know, letters. Like I know what RIA stands for and some of those, but a lot of those real estate terms I still get confused on. But my brain, it's hard to concentrate on stuff. And so last year and a half, 2 years, I've been reading this deep workbook probably once a month. I've read everything on the internet, or listened to everything on the internet that he's had. He's got about 10 or 15 different interviews he's done. And I've just been concentrating on that, and it's really, really helped me in the office, being able to get things done. You know, I try to focus on some of my weaknesses to improve. And the next thing is what to do next, you know. Staying concentrated on the right thing instead of getting things done that, oh, that didn't really need to be done today. And the book that I have down there, that's a good one, Systems. When I got back into real estate in 2013, I knew that I wanted systems because I was looking for something that when my other companies, when I finally closed it down, I wanted something that I could do from anywhere. And rentals, I'd done them before and they worked pretty good. And I decided to get really, really professional about it. And I read everything I can. I read something last year. It was about that big. And when you took the book apart, it was falling apart because it was so old. And I got it off the internet. But, you know, kind of one of those things that had kind of goofy pictures in it that somebody hand wrote and stuff. But I didn't know, I might find something in there, and I can't remember if I found something in there or not. So I read everything I can on rentals, how to be a better landlord. Taxes. We're actually going to do something. If you got a calculator, get your calculator out if you know how to work it. Because I'm going to give you some numbers here, and I want you to check it. Remember, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. Back 20, 30 years ago, there's a book, How Anyone Can Stop Paying Taxes. And I read that book, and I told my sister, I said, I'm not paying taxes anymore. And she said, my sister keeps me out of trouble. She's a great girl. She said, Lee, if you do that, you're going to end up in jail from time to time.
Or dead.
Or forever. And the guy that wrote the book, I knew he'd been in jail, Irwin Schiff, he's dead now. But I was convinced, and I'm convinced to this day, his premise of the book is right. I think he's right. But I think that you can be right and be dead right, you know. So she said, if you learn about taxes, you can win. And I thought about it all that year before I filed that next year. I went ahead and filed, and I started reading ever since then. And I've learned so much. When my boys were growing up, there's a little tax rule that a lot of people don't know. Your kids, if they're under 18, you can hire them, and you don't pay any Social Security tax on them because they're your kids. Why they put it in there? Some congressmen had kids. I can tell you right now. No, that's how all those stupid rules. Why did we have, a tax system where if you're a W-2 wage earner, you pay less, than me as a business owner? It still doesn't make sense to me. I think if you make $1, you ought to pay 10 cents, and if you make $1 million, you pay 100,000. 10% all the way across. Don't get me started. So, somebody's a W-2 earner, and me, I'm a businessman. When I go to work, I have a shirt, I have a hat, I have insulated coveralls for the winter, I have blue jeans, and I have shoes. I have underwears and socks, but I buy them on my own. The rest of the stuff is my tax write-off. If this guy spends $1,000 to buy all that, and we're just using this as a round thing, probably $300, but I want to round figures, and I spend $1,000, who paid more for that?
The W-2.
Huh?
The W-2.
Why?
Because it's not tax deductible to them.
Right, okay, so as a business owner, you can't take clothes off of your taxes. But I've read the tax code. You can take a uniform off of taxes. I got a little name tag on my uniform. So my shirts are uniform, my pants are uniform, and my shoes are uniform. And my hat, and my suspenders. Oh, I forgot to tell you. You've seen my suspenders, haven't you? Rainbow suspenders. I love my suspenders. I got that from Robin Williams when he was on TV. He had rainbow suspenders, and I loved them. So this guy, he's got to earn, but let's say that he's in the 20% tax bracket, okay? So at 20%, well, we'll make him, yeah, okay. I messed up my figures, but that's okay. Let's say that we'll make it 25, so it comes out right. So he's got $250 that he's going to pay, right? So now he's got to make $1,250, and then so it comes out right. Is that right? Is that what he's got to make that money?
No,
Why?
because you have the taxes on the 250 that you were adding.
Okay, that's one reason. What else?
Where's the 250 coming from?
He's in the 25% tax bracket, income tax. What else besides the fact that you got to make money for that? How about Social Security? Now, I'm going to make Social Security at 10% because I goofed up on my numbers, and it'll come out right this way. So then we got another, anyways, at 15%, it was another $150, right? So add that up. 1,000, 250, and 150. You got to make $1,538.46, right?
Well, that's not what that adds up to, but sure.
You're right, because of what you said. Because of what she said right here, if you add that up, it comes out to like 1,400, I think. But at 1,400, that's adding taxes at this level.
Right.
You gotta make more money, and it really comes out to being $1,538 and something cents to make that $1,000. I only had to make $1,000 because it's tax deductible. If Uncle Sam is your biggest partner in anything you do. If you learn to be a business person, businesswoman, businessman, and learn the tax code, you will have money in your pocket. If you don't,
Look at my taxes.
huh?
Can I have you look at my taxes?
If you're gonna be this W-2, you're gonna be paying all my taxes for it. Yep, I got both too. I pay myself now. I'm my own W-2 owner, and that's because it's tax advantageous for me to pay myself a W-2 wage. And last year was the first time that happened, because I learned a little bit more about taxes that last year. And I learned, if I put an S corp, I can pay less taxes. So I created an S corp and start paying myself. Anyway, so learn about taxes. The Kempsinger tax letter. No, she's got it. It's a really, really neat little thing. I like it. This thing's $48 the first year and $58 the next year, unless you create another email address and then you keep doing the cheat thing. I like it. This little part right here just tells what they're thinking about in Congress. You can skip that part because Congress doesn't know until they actually pass something, right? This next part, what I like about it, is it's got these little boxes. Like this box says business taxes. Hey, I'd probably read that one, right? The next one says IRAs. I don't have IRAs, so I'd skip that little paragraph. The next one down here says benefit plans. And I may have skipped it, but it says something about 401ks, and I'm interested in 401ks. Year-end tax tips, I'll read that one. Down here, estate and gift tax. My gift and estate tax, I know gift rules, and the estate that I have going is going to be 401k, so that's the only kind of estate planning I'm worried about. Preparers, well, I'm not a tax preparer for other people, so I skip that, and that's what I like it. Being dyslexic, I read real slow, and I can get through this in about 5 or 10 minutes. I highly suggest you get that. It'll keep you up on the latest taxes. What's that?
Once a year, once a month?
Twice a month, so it keeps you up to date. It's really good. Those guys have been around forever. And they do Kempsinger finance and a whole bunch of other little things like that, but that's the only one I'm interested in, is because I know where I'm going. I'm doing rental stuff.
What is the name of the document?
Kempsinger, it's on your
sheet
paper.
Under taxes.
Yes. And then, like, the last thing on here is rentals and landlords. I read everything I can on that subject, because that's what I'm into. Let's see. David Tilney, he is a guy that lives in Florida and all his properties in Colorado Springs. And that's the kind of person I want to be wherever I want to be, not where my property is. All my properties in Midland, I won't even go to Odessa. I'm too lazy to drive to Odessa. By the time I drive over there and back, I'm going to waste at least an hour. I'd rather be spending time with my family or doing something else. So I won't even drive to Odessa. Now, a day. All right, a day, he wants to do it in Michigan and some other places. Everybody's different, so figure out what works for you and work on what works for you. But I went to see David Tilney 3 or 4 years ago, And his seminar, real reasonable. It's like $400 or $500 for a weekend, and that's reasonable for a seminar. And when you get there, you can get a recording of the seminar, so you can take it home and keep, going over it. I took the train because I like the Amtrak. It's just, to me, it's a peaceful, kickback way to travel, man. And so I went all the way to California. I got me a nice little rental and stayed at the hotel where they were, which is kind of a higher end hotel. But I like being right there when I go to a seminar. I stayed there a week because the train didn't come back, and kind of played around California for a while, all tax deductible, right? Even though there was extra days in there, it didn't matter. I couldn't leave because the train was there, right? Won't say what I did, but I had fun. So when I came back here, it took me about a year. It took me 2 rentals to get my money back. I spent $1,300 instead of about 8 or 9 that I could have if I had flown or drove. And I got that back within the first two rentals I rented up because of the information I learned there. And there's a third day that the only reason I took the third day is because I was there and I wasn't going home, so I had to pay an extra $100. And I thought, well, you never know. You never know what you're going to use. Well, it was on master leasing. That's where you lease something and then lease it out to somebody else. And I try that with my deals. I haven't ever closed one yet, but I try it every deal. I've just got something else in my little tool bucket that I can offer them. And someday I'll get one of those things going. Protecting your assets. This is the very bottom of your sheet. Private use versus secret. How many rentals do I have? Who in here knows how many rentals I have?
Nobody.
Well, no, they have asked me, and I owned 3 rentals yesterday, and I own 3 today, and I will own 3 tomorrow. That's always my answer, because I do have 3 rentals. And that's not secret, that's just private. And if you tell people that you got $1 million in rentals, well, they may want to sue you. So it's better to just keep it private. Trust, I don't have a trust, but I have learned a lot about trust. Justin Smith, the one with the ponytail down here, he's real smart. He lives in Odessa, and he knows all about trust. He did a presentation about 6 months ago on trust and asset protections and stuff, and he even had me learn stuff that I didn't know. He presented a couple of years ago. Somebody didn't show up for the seminar and to present, and I said, well, what should we do? And Justin said, well, I can talk if you want. I said, oh yeah, because Justin's good, He talks about credit cards and credit, and I learned stuff about my credit card that I had that I could have been using and taking advantage of all the time just because of what he said, Justin's smart. Listen to Justin. LLCs, another way to protect your stuff. Some people may do it on the internet. If you do it on the internet, make sure that you know how to run the LLC. If you don't run it right, the first thing a lawyer does if he goes to sue you is try to break that corporate shield. And let's say that you were running it out of your own bank account and you had money going in your pocket and out of your pocket. It's not an LLC, and they'll break it and they'll sue you personally. So you got to make sure you know how to run an LLC and you do it properly so that people can't sue you. Well, they can sue you, they just won't win. Or if they do win, there's what called a charging order. And let's say that they win a $100,000 judgment against me. My LLC cannot pay me or any of the owners any money out of the LLC until that charging order is met. The LLC can keep doing business till there is no more earth. They can buy things, they can sell things, they can pay contractors. And if my son happened to be a contractor and I happen to pay him some money, that would be okay because he doesn't own the LLC. So you can move money around, you can do things, and I would never ever, if the judgment wasn't a good judgment, if I hurt somebody or something was my fault, I'd stick up for it, But if I'm innocent, they just fell on purpose and wanted to sue me, they'd never get any money from me. And probably after 10 years, don't you think that I could call them up and say, you're never gonna get any money. Will you take 5,000 to settle this lawsuit? I think they probably would after 10 years. If not, I'll call them 10 years later. You know? Because my sons can inherit that LLC. I haven't really figured out LLCs and how it's inherited yet, so don't take my word on that.
Do you have a book on LLCs that you've read before?
I do. I have read several of them on the LLCs, but I'm still, being dyslexic, it takes me a long time to get concepts down, and I don't have that ironclad in my brain exactly what happens when it closes.
Do you have a book on yours?
What's that?
Do you have a book on your for LLCs?
I do not. Sorry.
I'll look.
Huh?
I'd like to know.
I would suggest, and I don't have this on there, I don't think, write this down. KKOS, it's Core or something, something, something. It's a podcast out of California, and it's once a week. And he's,
A refresher will.
yeah,
Refresher will.
Refresh Your Wealth is the podcast. And he helped me create one, well, he helped me do the escort. And I'm gonna probably conference with him within the next month. I've got a list of questions like this, and I want to buy an hour of his time. I did it last year, and he kind of tweaked what I was planning on doing last year a little bit. And I'm going to open a 401k through their company. They do a lot of real estate. It's not exclusive, but they really know their stuff on real estate, and he's really a smart businessman. And so listen to his program and you can pick up some more things, because he's always talking about LLCs. They've got a thing where you can, I think it was like $400 or $300, you can buy their videos, and it's for life. Or you can do $20 a month. I'm a long-term thinker, so I bought the year thing. And when they did the new ones back at the beginning of this year, they have a little thing down there, new, so you don't have to listen to all the old ones. You can just look for the new ones that are switched and listen to those to pick up the new information. I like that. And a matter of fact, I've called into his show several times, because then I can get my answer free. I don't have to pay. And some of the, I've gotten probably half a dozen of my answers answered, and now I'm not going to have that time on his clock. The last one, 2 is property protections, IRAs and 401ks. It's very hard to sue and get any money out of those. There are certain circumstances that it can happen, but for all practical things, if you got any money in your IRA or your 401k, it's ironclad. They're not going to be able to sue you for it. I think the IRS can sue you, and there's some other weird things, but if you don't pay your taxes, well, you're going to go to jail anyway, so, who cares what you got on the outside? And the last thing is put loans on your property, but you don't have to keep them. You can pay that loan off, and then just don't clear the thing off the county tax assessors. Just keep that paperwork on there. If you have a loan for 2 or 3 weeks or a year or something, pay it off as quick as you can, and then just don't clear the loan off the thing. Because then when the lawyer goes to sue you, he's going to pull up all your properties, and then he's going to see, oh, you got loans on all these properties, there's no money here. And he'll make your renter guy pay him to sue you, and the renters, they don't have as much money as I do.
What do you mean by clear a loan? What does that mean?
They'll put a lien on your title, right?
Okay.
When you have a mortgage, they put a lien on the title. Well, when you pay the mortgage off, you can get a paper from the mortgage company saying it's paid off. Just never go down to the courthouse and get it cleared off there. And it'll still say that you're paying on that 30-year note. If you pay it off in 5 years, well, for 25 more years, you'll have that there's a note on it. It's just a way of protecting yourself. None of these are ironclad. It's just if you use all of them, it helps. Let's see. Yeah, coming to the Real Group has been really good to me. I know a lot more people outside. Sergio asked me about the Facebook page, Michelle. If you were here last summer, you went and saw her property. He went and saw it. And the trailer? Yeah. she doesn't come here because she's got kids, and every once in a while you'll see her come, and she might bring one of them with her, or she might talk her husband and watch them this year. But she's in charge of the Facebook page. She called me up and said, "Hey, not much is happening here. I'm on there because I don't do Facebook." I said, "Yeah, that'd be great." So I had her get in touch with Sergio and Rios, and Rios said, "Yeah, go ahead." So they put her on as one of the people that controls it, and I don't know if it's good or not, but it's growing, you know. I know that there's been several people ask me how to get the link, and it's hard to get on there. And so I've got an actual link now that can take you to the actual one that's our real Facebook page. But getting to know people, my wife doesn't want anything to do with real estate. Being from Florida, and she's from Ohio, and you know, we just don't see. She confuses me a lot. The other day I was trying to fly a kite, you know, I was running, hit that thing, and it was going like this, and it hit the ground. I'm not a quitter though. I got out there again and did the same thing, hit the ground. She pokes her head out the door and she says, "I know what's wrong." I said, "Well, what?" She says, "You need a little tail." Exasperated, said, "Well, why didn't you tell me that last night?" Y'all get it.
Oh, I got it, yeah.
Anyways. If I can do real estate, anybody can. And these are all the things I had going against me, okay? I don't like public speaking. Okay? I'd much rather sit down with Linda or Diamond and sit one-on-one or one-on-two or three, and we just have a good time talking, you know? I'm dyslexic, so when I'm on the phone reading my credit card off, I make them tell that back to me. Because I've learned over the years that if they tell that to me, it goes into a different part of my brain, and I instantly know I said it wrong. Because I'll flip those things around, those numbers, and I won't know it until they say it back to me. And so, low grades, 1st through 12th was really hard for me. It was just bad, but it taught me perseverance. And my mom made sure I could read. I thank my mom to this day because I have learned so much since I got out of high school. First book I ever read was when I was 23 years old. It was Lee Iacocca. It was that thick. And after reading that book, it was like, wow, this is great. And I've read ever since. I don't read fast, but I read. I'm in the middle of intelligence. Both my boys are up here. I tell them both I'm smarter than them. But at my age, if I'm not smarter than them, I'd be a moron. I mean, smart comes from experience. Intelligence is just something you have in your brain. And I'm just down here, but they are both really, really smart boys. I'm proud of them and like doing stuff with them. So you don't have to be particularly smart to do this. You just have to be after it. My mind has a hard time organizing things. That's why the One Thing book was good for me, and that concentration book, you know. I have no sense of fashion. What you see here, I have, last Christmas, I asked for my son, he's GQ, you know, and my wife to dress me up in my clothes and take pictures of me. And I have these pictures on my computer, and this was one of the pictures I have. And I'm over at Midland College standing there, and she took a picture of me. And I have probably about 8 or 9 different pictures of my clothes. And that's how I knew how to dress. The way I dress is the way I dressed when I met her. My black shirt, my black pants, and my black socks, and my black pants. Johnny Cash. It looked good on him. I figure it's got to look good. I don't have a black hat, but you know, that's the only fashion I can ever do. And I still have black, black, black. And she said, "Oh, don't wear that," you know. She was very proud of me. I had this on when she came home tonight.
You died in Florida too, didn't you?
What's that?
And you died in Florida too, didn't you? And all the black?
No, you just wear a bathing suit in Florida. I mean, you just run around. I moved from Florida to Hawaii, so, you know, there was no black stuff until I actually got out of the Army. I have a hard time remembering faces and names. That's why I asked y'all to let me take your picture so that I can put it on my phone so that I can go over it and learn. Like, I know her. I can't remember her name right now. I know her, and I think, didn't we meet at a Christmas party?
Yes.
Yeah, see, I know where I met her. Now, I can't always do that, and I can't always do that with face. Diamond, she's got a really neat name. I know the word diamond, and she's got a beautiful face, beautiful hair. I don't know, I just put her face, I learned that pretty quick. But someone like Linda, when she got here tonight, I was singing, Rose, no, and I've talked to her half a dozen times this week, right? And then within 2 or 3 seconds, like, oh, Linda, yeah. And I was meeting her here special, so I already knew who was coming. I don't know, my mind just doesn't work that way. I knew a friend of mine, back when I was single. I've been married 28 years. We lived together in a house. And, you know, I've known him all this time. He came up to me last year. I hadn't seen him in a year or so. Rex Roundtree. I had no idea who he was. And I said, he was over by my son. It was my son's graduation. I said, hey, how are you? My name's Lee Richter. And he thought I was kidding. Until when he said something, I knew exactly who he was. And he laughed. I laughed too, because I didn't want him to know. I didn't know who the hell he was. When I write you all something, if I write you a paragraph, I write that in Word. I go over it for about 10, 20 minutes, and then I copy and paste it into email, because I am just terrible at writing. It's just not what I do, you know. My son decided to become an accountant. He was like, yes, because numbers work in my head. Not as good as Steve. I'm still middle intelligent, remember? So I'm still not great at numbers, but it is my strong part. Learning new words, ARV, AOI, cap rate. I know what a cap rate is, but I don't know how to figure it out. All these things, half these terms I don't know what it means, you know. ARV, I know what that means. But it's just hard for my little brain to learn some of these things. I can't spell very well. If it weren't for all the technology we have today, I wouldn't be where I am right now, because it's helped me so much. Real estate, really a lot of the real estate I just don't understand. I do landlording because I understand it. I can do it. So that's all the bad things that go against me. Now here's all the good things. When it comes to thinking outside the box, I don't even realize there's a box. And that's why it confused my wife. She hates talking to me about real estate, because it's like, you know, what's he talking about, you know? We were sitting around a table one time over in Odessa at a meeting. There's 7 of us over there. And I mentioned that I was dyslexic. 5 of the 7 of us was dyslexic. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because we like doing all the weird deals and stuff. I mean, it flows. I love it, you know. I never quit. I learned that in high school, and it paid me off in the Army, and I just don't give up. If I know I can still do it, I just keep on going to the next stoplight, and if I get there, I'll wait until it changes and figure out what to do until I can go to the next part of the journey. I knew I could do this. I told my wife one time, I said, you're real smart, and I'll never be able to do what you can do, but I can do one thing you can't do. I can jump. And I didn't know what to call it. And she said, what do you mean? I said, well, I can take this idea over here, this one here, and I come up with this new idea, this weird thing out of all these ideas. And I realized I had this talent for that, and I don't know what to call it. And I read a book on dyslexia cure about 4 or 5 years ago, and they said that that's one of the things dyslexics can do in that book. And I didn't know. I didn't even know I was dyslexic till I was 48. My sister told me. It's like, really? Yeah, why do you think you had all this trouble in school? And it's like, I didn't know, I was dumb, you know. An advantage for me is I consume a lot of information. I mean, I listen to 20-something podcasts a week, and I read a lot of books. I listen to a lot of books. You can ask Robin, you know, I'm not just always trying to absorb new information, you know. And I have the time to do it too. I have a job that allows me to listen a lot. I drive around town listening. I have a mixed thing of confidence and self-awareness. In other words, I'm extremely confident in who I am, but that great philosopher, Clint Eastwood, he said a man's got to know his limitations. And I'm self-aware. I know my limitations. Steve Sanders, a lot of you know him in here. He's a very, very great guy. Does fix and flips all the time, knows all these numbers, knows all this stuff. I couldn't do anything that he can do. I mean, he's a brilliant guy. If Steve talks, go over and listen to him. He always doing good stuff. So I know my limitations. I was a punk kid coming out of high school, and one of the best things that ever happened to me is I joined the Army. I had some good leaders. They taught me to be a man and how to be disciplined. I wasn't real disciplined before that. I could do things if I wanted to, but discipline wasn't part of it. Now, we're getting towards goals now. Setting goals and getting goals is just a matter of pushing through the pain and the struggle and monotony of achieving success. Last winter, I took 3 to 4 hours trying to figure out how to do payroll, setting up, not doing it with QuickBooks, but doing it manually and having QuickBooks do it automatically and figuring out what accounts to do and everything. That was a struggle. Even though numbers is my thing, QuickBooks and stuff that I don't know what to do, 3 to 4 hours, and I just struggled through that. Luckily, I'd already read that deep workbook, and I stayed at until otherwise it would take me maybe a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of days, I don't know. But I stayed on it. It was a struggle, and it was painful. My little brain was hurting. But when I was finished, it was a joy. I mean, that's success, right? Now, as it's like that, the monotony comes is when you got your systems going, because it's boring doing things that you do all the time. But that's part of success, because if you'll do the paperwork and you'll learn to do whatever area of stuff you're doing, you're going to be doing, if you'll do it all right, you'll do more than 95% of the people out there. Steve does his own fix and flips and everything, and 95% of the people out there can't do what Steve does. I'm a landlord, and I think I'm a really good landlord. And I don't think that's false modesty. I think it's just fact. At least I'm good for me, because I don't have to spend any of my time on it now. But creating those systems and stuff, there again, it was painful and struggling. And I learned each time. Somebody last year wanted to renew a lease, 2 of them, and I probably spent 2 to 3 hours, because I like to read through the whole lease and then redo it. One was for $25 a month increase, and the other was for $100. I would have done it for the $100, because that's $1,200 at the end of the year. The $25 one, I'm not sure. Even if I just spent that 3 hours on hers, that's still $300. I'm not sure if I would spend it though. So that got me to thinking, what could I do different that would keep me from spending that kind of time on it? Well, I got a little one-page thing now that I can fill out in about 5 minutes, email to them, and they can mail it back to me if they're gonna, and it'll tell the increase. It'll refer back to the original lease, and I ran it through a lawyer. So it cost me a little bit of money lawyer fee, and it cost me a little bit of time of thinking how to do it, but that's my system. Now my system improved just a little bit more, and now I've got less hours that I'm gonna spend on my rentals now. And that's the way it goes. I'm going through the fog, right? The fog's getting lifted, but there's still foggy patches, you know. Come on in, Ralph. Everybody say hi to Ralph. Hi, Ralph. Hi, Ralph. We won't embarrass you, Ralph.
Much.
I always tell people that when they're figuring out their life, their goals, figure out your lifestyle that you want first. Steve likes to be busy all the time. And my wife says that about me. I don't see it about myself, but she says I do. I see it in Steve. He loves to go on fixing his fix and flips and stuff. And And that's his personality. My personality is, I don't like stress. I'm feeling pretty good right now, which I'm very surprised at, because usually when I'm up like this, I'm like, I can feel a little crink back here where I get real tight. I don't like that. I like being kicked back. I like Hawaiian shirt, being on the beach, being in the yard, you know, just relaxed. I don't like strife in my life at all. If you're a renter of mine and you give me any kind of strife, you're going to be gone, because I don't want that in my life. And I'll just tell you, I picked up one house. I think it was the first house I actually picked up when I got back into real estate. And she cussed out the person I was buying the thing from.
Wow.
And so a week before I went to close, I went to see her. It was her and her son, and they're still in the house. They'd been in there for 10 years. And I sat down, I said, you know, I'm a landlord. And that's what I do. And I don't care if you stay in here or not. But I don't know who did it, but if anybody ever cusses at me, you're gonna be on. Because I don't take that, I don't treat people that way, and I don't want to be treated that way. And she said, oh, well, that was me, I'm sorry. I was really concerned because we've been in here for 10 years, and you know, and so we got it straight right from the beginning. I'm not going to treat you that way, and you're not going to treat me that way. And she hugs me. She sees me, she'll come up and hug me and stuff. And you know, but there again, I just like people. You know, I want good people. I was telling Linda here. I said I want to help people like Linda that care and nice and stuff. I wouldn't do a deal with Trump if you paid me. I don't care, guys. I don't like stress. I like to kick back. I wanted a business that, for the last part of my life, I didn't have to be doing stuff. I'm a hedge fund manager. I trim people's hedges and they send me their funds. But if I don't trim their hedges, they won't send me any funds. So I wanted something that I can do. You know, people just keep sending me money. And for the last 3 or 4 years, I tell people, my sons every once in a while, I'll wake up and I'll say, you know what? I earned another $100 last night sleeping. And I'm trying to get it through their head that, hey, you know, if you get it right, you can just sleep your way away and have money coming in. I didn't want to be tied up, so I knew I wanted to get systems. I already read the e-book, E-Myth, years ago. And I've done that with my other business too, but it's just not as good because I'm a one-man business in that, and so I don't work, I don't get paid. But the next one, I knew that I didn't want it to be in that way. I wanted to be totally hands-off. So systems was a big thing. I've got an assistant that works for me, and that's her #1 job, is to make sure anything that we do is in systems. I've got actually 2 systems assistants. One's in the Philippines and one's here in Midland. I took that part out. Have a strong why. I asked Robin if he tells his why.
Yeah, so when I met Lee, he pretty much asked me what my why was, and we've been pretty close ever since because we can kind of relate to one another's why. I came here in the U.S. in 2009 from Belgium, and I started studying and did all that thanks to my mom. I couldn't live by my mom, basically by herself. And my why is I want to be able to take care of my mom when she can't take care of herself anymore, as well as making my wife happy and make sure that if we do raise a family, that my kids won't ever need for anything. Like my mom managed to do that for us, even though she wasn't in the best situation for it. And so being grateful to her for that, that's really what's motivating me, is to do good by my mom, because she always keeps tabs on what I'm doing out here. The other day she told me to be careful driving to work because she'd heard of the bad winds that were out here. And so just for someone who's that caring and that loving is my why. I want to be the best person I can be and be able to give back to my mom at some point. And so right now I'm still working through it. I've only started back in, I guess November is when you can say I actually started investing, but hoping that it'll keep going and that someday I'll be able to help my mom come over here, even if it's not permanent, at least once in a while, and just stay here and maybe spend her last days, maybe not in Texas, maybe not in the Midland, but in a nicer place than Belgium where it rains a lot, so, yeah.
Aw.
See, now he's got a strong why. I can guarantee you put a wall in front of him, he's gonna smash through it, go under it, go around it, go over it. He's gonna figure out a way, because he's got a strong why. I love my mom, so I can relate. She's dead now, but my boys are my why. You're not gonna stop me, I can guarantee you. The only thing that can stop me is my boys, because if I'm working and they call, I stop everything I do to talk to them. And we can talk anywhere. My oldest one will talk for a half hour, hour and a half. I'll just be sitting in somebody's yard. They'll look out the window and say, "What's he doing on the phone?" I'm talking to my boys. That's my priorities, you know. I got to work. I went to work Sunday afternoon and got over to Lone Star Abstract to take care of that place. I got my workbook out and it said right on there, it said Stanton Sorehead Days. And I called my wife up. I said, "Hey, you want to go to Sorehead Days?" I put it in there so I wouldn't forget, you know. She said, "You just left." I said, "Yeah, I just got ready to clock in." I said, "You want to go?" She said, "Yeah." So I drove back home, you know, because that's a higher priority than work. You know, I know what my priorities are. I know where I'm going.
It helps to be
And
wrong, boss.
what's it all for? Yes.
I'm gonna tell your age because I've known you for
What?
more than 35 years. And I remember at that time when he was starting his hedge fund, or actually Ron work, and he told us, this sticks with me, he told us why he chose that particular business. Do you remember that why then, when you were still single?
No?
At the time, he decided he wanted to do yard work because he loved skiing, snow skiing.
Oh, that's why I didn't do,
And so
CPA.
he chose this business to match his other goals, I think so many times, especially out here in West Texas. Somebody tell me you're here and it's not for money. Yeah, that just doesn't happen. I mean, we'd be somewhere else if it weren't for money. And we need to think about those other whys, and that just, I still remember that from
Yeah.
more than 35 years ago.
I was going to Midland College, I was gonna be a CPA, and it dawned on me at like the second semester, CPAs work hard from January to April. Man, that's ski season, I can't do that. So after that semester, I didn't take any more college, because I was already doing landscape maintenance. And I thought, you know, this is a good business, I make plenty of money. I've never been motivated by money. It's to this day. When I say that my number one thing right now is to get my hours in so I can make some money this year, it's not the money that concerns me, it's funding that 401k, because one of my goals is to make tax-free money for the rest of my life. And through a Roth 401k, I can do that. I'm going to hurry up here because I looked at the clock and I'm running late.
Just hide it.
Well, I try to keep it right at 8, that way y'all don't get, you know, bored and stuff. Always keep setting new goals. If you achieve a goal, set a new goal. The astronauts usually used to get depressed when they got back. Baseball players and stuff, a lot of times when their career's over, they're depressed because they haven't set new goals. And they get depressed, they don't know what to do with their life. So keep setting new goals. Then again, figure out the life you want to live, and then fit everything else around it. Don't think, okay, I want to be an accountant, and now I'll figure out how to make my life around it. Figure out the life and then the goals around it. Your happiness isn't going to happen when you achieve your goal. It really isn't. It's the journey. When you achieve a goal, you're going to get joy, you're going to get euphoria, excitement, ecstasy, enjoyment. But ecstasy to me is something like when you're on drugs. You know, I haven't done any drugs, but I've seen movies and stuff, you know. But it's temporary. You know, 2-3 hours later, they're wanting another fix, right? That's the way your goals are. It's the journey. That's where you're going to get your enjoyment. Your joy is the journey.
That's
So-
why you take the train instead of the plane.
Yes, exactly. See, I took the train
I
because
understand that.
I want to enjoy it, you know. I'm going to become good friends with Diamond if she stays around long enough. Linda, I've known her for, 2 years now? And, you know, just keep having friends and keep enjoying life, you know. My wife doesn't understand that. Keep to a minimum on your goals, 2 to 3 goals. You get more than that and you're not staying focused. So keep focused. Who knows what the 80-20 rule is? Tell it.
80% of your results come out of 20% of what you do.
Oh, 80-20, I thought you said age 20.
So basically,
Clean out my ears.
80% of the stuff you do is wasteful. 20% of it is going to make you really big things. And that's why if you keep the one thing in front of you all the time, you're working on your 20%. You're not working on the 80%. I do email once a day because I can go through it, get it out of the way, and get on, and I don't look at it again. Denzel Washington said, to achieve your goals, you must have discipline and consistency. Yes? Okay. Okay. Everybody say goodbye, Diamond. We'll see you next time. Okay, now we're getting down to the very last here. You need lag goals and lead goals. Lag goals are measurable and they're usually the end goal. Like, I want to have a stress-free workplace. Okay, that would be a lag goal. A lead goal, they're easier to control because I can't really control having a stress-free work life. But a lead goal, you can control them a little bit easier. Like, and they're usually a little bit harder to do. They're usually not the end goal in themselves, and they're usually an action thing. Like, I will get rid of people that I don't like that are not good workers. That would keep a stress-free thing, right? But that would be hard for me to let somebody go. But I'll do it in a heartbeat because I don't want that. And evidently they want that kind of life and they need to go find somebody to have that with, Or I want to make systems so that the company's running smoothly, right? If you got all this stuff and you don't know what to do with it, you don't know where to go because your systems are messed up, then you're going to have a lot of stress in your life. But setting those systems up is just like me taking 2 or 3 hours to do that one thing on the accounting for the QuickBooks. Took a little bit of time, but now it's set up. It's going to be really easy now. And that's where the monotony comes in because a lot of those are habits. In other words, every morning I get up, I check my email every morning. It's just a habit. But it's a monotony habit because I do email, I do text, I do breakfast, I prepare the breakfast for the next morning, and then I go off to work every morning. On your paper, it talks about SMART goals being specific, measurable, accountable, realistic, and achievable, and time-bound. So write down your goals and look at them every morning or night. I don't look at mine because I just know I know them. If I changed one, if I didn't know it, then reward yourself for making steps towards your goals. If you get to that stop sign, you get through that stop sign, go out and have a picnic or, celebrate. And you can do cheap stuff or expensive stuff, just depends on what your budget is and what your goal is. Be specific, make sure you break them down into baby steps. The smaller you can break it down to, the faster you'll be able to achieve it. Because if you got this big goal, it's like eating an elephant, right? It's hard to do, but if you break it down into little bits, you can eat one bite at a time. Make a process goal instead of a number goal. I will call 5 sellers every day. That's a process goal. Yeah, it has a number to it, but I will have 10 rentals in 10 years or in 1 year. You got to figure out how many callers you need to do, and the end product is the 10 rentals. One last page here. It's a short page. Lead measure. predictive of goal achievement and are easier to influence versus lag measures. Goals are achieved and are difficult to achieve. I will do 40 push-ups every day is a lead goal. I will have a 40-inch chest is a lag goal. See my chest? I don't know who you are. I'm going to skip the rest of those examples. Accountable. I like being accountable to myself because when I call somebody and let's say I had Robin calling me all the time, that would create stress for me, so that doesn't work for me. But I'm accountable to myself. I'm very hard on myself. If I don't do something, I kick myself in. I was trying to do a fix and flip, my first flip and fix this summer with my son because I thought it'd be so much fun doing something with my son. Steve was still, we got 3 or 4 weeks left to find the deal. If we don't find it in that 3 or 4 weeks, and it looks like we're probably not, just because, it's hard to find a deal. But I'm using that frustration to achieve stuff that I'm doing in the future. I've already increased my hours at work and staying focused on, I want to get at least 200 hours every month. And you say, oh, that's nothing, only 50 hours a week. And you got other stuff going on, it does get kind of, and my goal for this month is 244 hours. And that's my all-time record, but I think I might break it this month. I'm really on this track. Yeah. So be accountable to somebody, whatever works for you. And then 6 is being realistic and achievable. Realistic is you could become or achievable is you could become an astronaut. But is that realistic? Spud Webb was 5'7", played at Midland College, and he got into the NBA. Yeah. So, it was possible. Now, it's not possible for me to do, especially at my age, But, so keep it realistic and achievable. And make it stretch you, though. Don't make it easy. And then keep it time-bound. I tell you, I don't like times, but I do kind of like times, like my 401k. I knew last year they had a sale going on last November, but I knew what my goals were already for this year. I knew that the money was going to pay off my last rental, so I'd be debt-free. And I wasn't going to have the money for the 401k anyway, so why set it up? But I knew back then that I was going to set it up this November, because KKOS has a sale every November. I'm a patient guy. I like sales. I like getting things for free. And when I call him here in the next month or so, I just am going to put a little Bernie's thing and say, hey, when that sale comes on, let me know, because I'm going to set up the 401k. He may say right then, well, we'll give you the sale price right now. Yeah. Who knows? If he doesn't, that's okay. I don't have the money right now anyways. I'll have it probably at the end of the summer, in the fall. But know what your goals are, keep going towards them. And then the last thing I have to say is stay focused on your goals. You will end up successful if you do. And I beg you not to give up. Push through your struggles and keep on going through the fog until you meet. Thank you very much.